It's safe to say that literally anyone who hasn't been living under a rock for the past 2 years has heard about Fortnite at some point. Just to prove that fact, there are so many films that have referenced Fortnite, including Avengers Endgame. But today we're gonna spin things around a little and take a look at some of the times Fortnite referenced movies in the Battle Royale, and trust us, there are plenty of examples. The first Avengers and Fortnite crossover lasted for a week, and it was to help hype up Avengers Infinity War, not like it even needed that anyways. This crossover event gave us the Infinity Gauntlet LTM that allowed players like Lachlan to become the Mad Titan himself, Thanos. There would be an Infinity Gauntlet somewhere on the map, and if you got your hands on the mythic item, you'd turn into Thanos until you were killed, which didn't happen very often because, of course, being Thanos came with a ton of perks. You could jump super high into the air and move around the map with ease. You could also destroy anything in your path and fire friggin' laser beams from your hands. You know how much we love Thanos as a villain here on CBR, and he's just as badass in the world of Fortnite. All of his powers from the movie were able to be used in the game. Well, everything except for being able to use the time stone to go back in time, that is. He would be a little too OP if he could do that. Still, the success of this collaboration opened the door for other companies to work with Fortnite. Here we have the Avengers in Fortnite once again a year later, but they decided to take things a step further this time to hype up Avengers Endgame. The new LTM, the second collab introduced to Fortnite, was called Endgame. Not very creative, but it fits. As Dan TDM shows us, in the game mode, you were either a part of the Chitauri or the Avengers. The first member of the Chitauri to find the Infinity Gauntlet would become Thanos, and the members of the Avengers team were able to use famous weapons like Captain America's shield, Thor's Stormbreaker, Iron Man's repulsor beams, and Hawkeye's bow and arrow. The first team to collect all 6 Infinity Stones and wipe out the remaining team won. We even got a Black Widow skin with the option of red or blonde hair, as well as the Widow's Bite harvesting tool and the Widow's Pirouette emote. What we loved the most about this crossover event was the Stan Lee Easter egg that appeared at the end of a round. You were able to see a little Excelsior at the bottom of the screen. You will be missed, Stan the man, and your legacy will undoubtedly live on forever. By now, everybody knows who the Reaper skin's based on, so we're sure you're not surprised to see it on this list. Just in case you've been living under a rock, this skin is known as John Wick to many players, including NetJ, so that should clear things up. If you're too young to watch John Wick, then just sneak into your parents' Netflix account and watch it while they're out doing groceries or something. Trust us, it's worth it, and you'll be practicing your imaginary gun fu skills for years afterwards. The movie character played by Keanu Reeves has an iconic black suit with long hair, a beard, and a noticeable facial scar. Sometimes the suit is all black, while other times he likes to wear a white shirt underneath. But typically, the all-black look is what John Wick prefers. After all, he's ended the lives of many men in the movies, so it's a fitting color scheme. This all-black color scheme is replicated on the Reaper skin along with a long-haired beard. Literally, the only difference between the skin and the John Wick character is that it has a cartoonish style in Fortnite. Other than that, they're spitting images of each other. As you can see, Fortnite enjoys paying homage to some of the most popular movies of our generation. But what about some older films? Well, they pay homage to those as well. If you were a true 90s kid, then one of your favorite movies was probably Jurassic Park. Many of us were obsessed with dinosaurs as a kid, so it only made sense to have been interested in a movie full of those extinct creatures. One of the most iconic scenes in the first movie is simply known as Raptors in the Kitchen, because, well, there were raptors in the kitchen. Hiding from raptors is no easy feat, and Fortnite decided to replicate the movie poster depicting the scene in one of their loading screens. The only difference is that instead of there actually being raptors, there's just 2 T-Rex skins. It's much less scary. But Ramirez is absolutely terrified of them nonetheless, and we honestly don't even blame her. People dressed as dinosaurs making dinosaur noises is enough to freak anyone out. It's a nice homage to one of the best 90s movies of all time, and for that, we say thank you, Epic Games. There must have been at least one 90s kid working for them. Sticking with the classics, let's talk about an Easter egg we noticed in the Season 9 cinematic trailer. One of the new locations, Neo Tilted, is known for having a few blimps flying around the sky. Now, while there's nothing really special about those blimps, and they themselves aren't Easter eggs, it's what's said on one of them that's a reference to this classic movie from the 80s. In the cinematic trailer for Season 9, you'll notice that the message on the blimp reads, "The future is yours." At first, we didn't think much of this because the whole theme of Season 9 is the future, and it's also just a neat quote that really makes you think. But upon closer inspection, it reminded us of something from the movie Scarface. In that movie, there's a scene where a blimp flies overhead and the message on it reads, "The world is yours." The future is yours, the world is yours. It's not perfect, but we definitely don't think it was just a coincidence. Somebody on the development team must really love Scarface, and we don't blame them. It's one of the all-time classics, and we're happy to see it referenced in Fortnite. Say hello to our little friend. Too much? Yeah. Whee! When it comes to Disney movies, gamers like us absolutely love WreckIt Ralph. It's one of our favorites. Seriously, we love how he interacts with all of these legendary video game characters, and the latest WreckIt Ralph movie, Ralph Breaks the Internet, was no different. As we've come to expect with all Disney movies, it was an awesome film, and they decided to have WreckIt Ralph make a cameo in Fortnite to hype up the movie. If you found yourself on a date in risky reels or just wanted to watch a movie on your own like Chaos, you could have caught a glimpse of WreckIt Ralph on the big screen. Eventually, the screen turned black, and Ralph showed up looking as confused as always. He waves at the camera and left. Yeah, that's literally all he did. But hey, WreckIt Ralph made a cameo in Fortnite, a game played by a bunch of kids to hype up the movie. That's a very smart move on Disney's part, and we're sure it must have helped the movie make over $500 million at the box office. In fact, we're sure it's the only reason why it made that much money. Just kidding, it's probably barely contributed, really. One of the greatest low-budget movies of all time has to be Napoleon Dynamite. The film only cost $400,000 to make and earned over $46 million at the box office to go along with its cult following. Say what you want about the movie, but it has become a classic whether you like it or not. In fact, Napoleon Dynamite has become so popular that one of its famous scenes got referenced in Fortnite. When it's time for the high school talent show, Napoleon decides to harness his inner John Travolta by unleashing, well, whatever the heck those beautifully coordinated dance moves are. Yeah, it wasn't the greatest dance we've ever seen, but it sure made us and the entire theater die of laughter at the time, so we can't complain. Keldank shows us the Groove Jam emote in action, and it's so similar to the one in Napoleon Dynamite that we're sure it's a direct reference to the film. Watching a Fortnite character dance like Napoleon's probably the best thing we've seen in a long time, so you can bet we still use the emote to this day. Yes, we like it so much we're still using it in Season 9. Now we're going to go back to the MCU for pretty much the rest of this video. Hey, this is CBR. We love our superhero movies, and Season 4 of Fortnite was chock full of references to our favorite films. Just like T. Martin 2, we found the transition from Season 3 to 4 to be a fairly smooth one. We knew the meteor in the sky would end up colliding with the Fortnite map, but instead of hitting tilted towers like everybody thought it would, it ended up destroying Dusty Depot, turning the location into Dusty Divot. We kinda missed Dusty Depot, but don't at the same time because the loot was awful. Anyway, MCU fans were quick to notice that the divot looks an awful lot like the crater that was formed in the movie Thor when Odin banished the god of thunder to Midgard and cast the worthiness enchantment on Mjolnir. We definitely think this is a direct reference to the movie because a whole research lab was set up on the location, just like in the film. Sure, they were studying the meteor and all that fun sciencey stuff instead of a legendary hammer made of Uru metal, but you can't deny the similarities between the locations. While calling people Rust Lords has become a popular playground insult since Season 3 of Fortnite, it should honestly be a compliment because the skin's awesome. We'd love to be called Rust Lords because the skin is great, and just like Claws 97, we can't get enough of it. We bust it out every once in a while, even in Season 9. As we've already mentioned a couple times, we're huge superhero fans, so it didn't take us very long at all to figure out which character this skin is based on. Yep, that's right. It's everyone's favorite half-human, half-celestial Peter Quill, aka Star-Lord from Guardians of the Galaxy. From the soundtrack to the characters to the plot, that movie was so good, and even Volume 2 was as solid as they come. Now, maybe Rust Lord and Star-Lord's masks aren't incredibly similar to each other, but the rest of their outfit definitely is, especially that leather jacket. It's pretty much the exact same color on both characters. We don't think Rust Lord's capable of piloting a spaceship or taking down some intergalactic baddies like Star-Lord, but he can certainly hold his own in a battle royale, although he probably wouldn't mind some high-tech laser weapons. In Season 4 of Fortnite, we were introduced to so many new superhero-themed skins. Avengers Infinity War was just about to come out back then, so Epic Games wanted to capitalize on all the hype the movie was generating. One of our favorite skins has to be Carbide, and Hollow definitely agrees with us as well because he fully upgraded the skin. It's this fully upgraded version of Carbide that reminds us of the superhero who started it all in the MCU. Oh yeah, we're talking about Tony Stark, aka Iron Man. While we don't know much about the Carbide under the suit, we know Tony Stark was a billionaire genius playboy philanthropist. The colors of the Carbide skin and the Iron Man suit are completely different, but Epic Games couldn't just make a carbon copy of the iconic character. If it was possible to give the Carbide skin a red and gold color scheme, it would undoubtedly resemble Iron Man, because the design is shockingly similar between the two of them. What stands out the most is the torso and mask. They both look nearly identical. The only difference is that we don't notice any nanotech or repulsor beams on the Carbide skin, which is a real shame. There are plenty more skins that remind us of our favorite superheroes, even if they don't bear a striking resemblance at first glance. The Battlehawk skin shown by the new Enforcer is one of them. On the surface, it just looks like a soldier, but it's the eye patch that threw us off and got us thinking about the god of thunder, Thor. If you saw Thor Ragnarok, then you know he lost an eye in his battle with his sister that he didn't know he had, Hela. Oh yeah, and she also destroyed his favorite toy Mjolnir. Now, the typical Thor attire with the cape and long sleeves looks nothing like the Battlehawk skin, but if you take a look at Thor's outfit in Avengers Infinity War, then it becomes clear that there's some inspiration there. Thor's Infinity War outfit includes a sleeveless military-style vest to go along with an eye patch. All of these same pieces of gear can be found on the Battlehawk skin. Well, the skin has short sleeves under his military vest, but it's close enough. Battlehawk doesn't have the power of Stormbreaker and can't channel lightning from his fingertips like a god of thunder, but he's more than capable with a firearm in his hands. One of the forgotten skins from Season 4 is the Squad Leader. It's not that it's boring, it's just lacking something in comparison to the other superhero skins. As LX2 shows us, the skin does bear a slight resemblance to one of the original Avengers who was absent in Infinity War, and came back with a vengeance in Endgame, Hawkeye. While he's never had his own movie, he's been an important but often forgotten member of the Avengers since the very first film. We'll be the first to admit that this might be a bit of a stretch. The skin doesn't look exactly like Hawkeye, especially in the face. Clint Barton doesn't have a beard, and the hairstyle and color aren't even close. But on further inspection, there are some interesting similarities between the two. The all-black outfit resembles Clint's, and even having only one covered sleeve while the other is uncovered is a look we've seen on Hawkeye as well. You gotta keep that arm warm. Now that we think about it, maybe it's not much of a stretch after all. It's quite clear that Hawkeye inspired the Squad Leader's skin, even if it's just a little bit. We still just wish we had his accuracy, though. Omega was another superhero skin that you could unlock at Tier 100 of Battle Pass Season 4, and it was actually one of the rarest skins in Fortnite for a while. Muselk was one of the first players to get the skin, and it looks incredible with its black and red style. While Infinity War and Endgame seemed to take all the spotlight, Black Panther was one of the highest grossing films in recent years. It was an incredible movie that gave T'Challa a proper introduction to the MCU and let us know more about Wakanda. At first glance, the Omega skin and the Black Panther suit don't look too similar to each other, but it won't take long before you notice some similarities. For starters, they're both all black. Sure, the Omega skin might have some red accents and a silver mask, but other than that, it's all black, baby. Also, their masks are similar in design because they both look like they have ears. Some fans believe Omega looks like Ultron, and there's some similarities there too, but we think it's closer to the Black Panther, even though Omega plays a villain in the Fortnite story and T'Challa has always been a good guy. Also released in Season 4, its Byrex shows us the die-cast skin in action, and it's not hard to figure out which character it's based on. He's a Russian mutant and a member of the X-Men who's appeared in both Deadpool movies and is capable of transforming himself into metallic form. It's Peter Rasputin, aka Colossus. Now, Colossus is so much bigger than the die-cast skin. After all, he's called Colossus for a reason. But Epic Games couldn't just make a skin that big in Fortnite because it would put players at a huge disadvantage. Just imagine playing as a character that big. It would be hilarious, and you would be shocked. Now, the color schemes between these two characters aren't similar at all, and neither is the attire. But it's the metallic form of die-cast that stands out and is very reminiscent of Colossus. While the look of their metallic forms may differ, there aren't many superheroes known for having a metallic form. So it's very obvious that Colossus inspired the die-cast skin. If the skin spoke with an awesome Russian accent, then we'd know for sure. But we're just gonna go out on a limb here and say that the die-cast skin is based on Colossus. We're gonna end this video by moving away from the MCU for our final entry. we have to check out another superhero skin with an obvious connection to the DC universe in Valor. This was an awesome skin because it was the only female superhero skin we had in Battle Pass Season 4. They released others in the item shop, but it was the only one in the Battle Pass, which is why players like Roblox Games flocked to it. It was something different. Just taking a look at it, the skin immediately reminds you of Wonder Woman, the Amazonian warrior. Seriously, even if you know next to nothing about Wonder Woman, you just take one look at this skin and know it's based on the character. It was one of the most successful films in the DC Extended Universe because, just like with the Valor skin, it was something different. In fact, Wonder Woman even bested Aquaman at the box office. Once again, the color scheme may be different, but there's no doubt Valor's based on Wonder Woman. Their costume is literally the exact same thing, and they both have circlets on their heads. It's great to see Fortnite give DC some love with the Valor skin. And those are some of the best movie references in all of Fortnite. What's your favorite movie reference in the game? Are there any good ones we might have missed? Let us know in the comment section down below. And don't forget to subscribe to CBR for more Fortnite videos. Thanks for watching.